First order of business. Are we going to ratify the agenda? Or do we approve the minutes of the last meeting?
Ratify the agenda first.
I move to ratify the agenda as presented.
A second.
Okay, move's been first and seconded. All in favor, right?
Aye.
Aye.
Meetings of the last minute. Do I got a first and a second to approve the meetings of the last minute, or the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 7th, 2022 meeting.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
County Park Board Director report, there's no report. We don't have to vote on that. We're gonna move on to the Rough Rider Motorsports and the light pole. Oh, where I'm going the other direction? Okay, I was going down this one. Okay, so the fundraising brochure update, is that where we are?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at this.
It's okay. Lisa Heiser, County Parks Director. Just a quick update on that fundraising brochure. Some of you know that that has been printed, and I will get that to you. I just got to run down to Quality and grab that, and so you'll have that at your commission meeting, and Jason, I'll get you a copy of that as well. Just to look at it, there may be some changes coming up, but that's all I have on that. If you've got any questions on it after you look at it, let me know.
Okay? The restroom update?
On that one, you guys should have the layout of the restroom on there. The mechanical, civil, and structural engineering have been provided to us by Goldmark, and through CMTA is doing the mechanical, MBN Engineering is doing the civil, and then AE2S is doing the structural for a total of $33,800. And that was approved in the last year's budget in the COVID monies or ARPA monies for that. So I just wanted you to see the layout of what we're anticipating moving forward with. And then as soon as they get the plans and specs and all of that ready, we'll do the bid process.
And so that middle area, that's not divided, but that line is in there just to give us our dimensions, right?
Yes, correct. Yep. The utility room itself will end up having to have a pressure tank and a pressure pump. We don't have current enough right now to run all of these during a big event, so that'll be housed in there, and then there'll be a little storage room in there as well for supplies.
So how big of they didn't say how big of a water tank we need, cistern or something like that?
They did not. That'll be on the mechanical side. They will determine what the water flow actually is now. That's part of their bid, is to determine that and give us what we're going to be required to have in there in order to run flush them all at one time, basically.
Looks like a pretty cool little plan.
Yep.
So we won't approve or disapprove anything, it's just an update?
No, just for your
Okay.
knowledge of seeing it. Yep. Yep.
Okay, we'll move on to the Brad's deal with the Speedway,
Yep.
the Southwest Speedway name.
Brad Hardigan, Rough Rider Motorsports. We negotiated with the previous group to purchase the rights to the name Southwest Speedway for $1. That was for us purchasing it. Me and Lisa spoke this morning. If the county were to purchase it, I don't know if it's the same deal. You know, we've already purchased their equipment, purchased all their stuff, so there's just kind of like an agreement on anything that's left that we're gonna slowly purchase from them. The name is just it's a name. It's not like there's nothing real value to them, but I don't know if that's gonna be the same program if the county were to purchase it. So that's where we're at with that. If you guys would like to purchase it or the county would like to purchase it, I guess I can have that discussion with them to see what the price tag would be if we go that route.
I'd like to say a little something. Just in the last meeting and the minutes that you have right now, it was agreed that the county would own the rights to that name because it's our facility. Otherwise, we wouldn't, want to do that and keep the Southwest Speedway name. We'd just change it to the Speedway. And so that was part of what was agreed upon. So, if you guys want to deal with that however you'd like. But I would recommend that we remain the owners of that. Otherwise, it's gonna create an issue 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, so.
That'll be there longer than that.
Well, what if we purchase it from Brad after he gets the deal done?
The only concern I have with it is, say we print T-shirts or, I mean, our programs have the logo on it. I mean, there's more than just that. So if the county purchases it, like, I'm perfectly fine with that, but I don't want to come to you and say, well, can I print a T-shirt that has the logo on it? Like, I don't think that's
Yeah, let's purchase it after you're done with your lease or when you're,
or what if you guys purchase it, it's fine, but I don't think, like, I don't want to have to come to you each time we put that logo on something. You know, we give out seat cushions and can koozies. Like, if I come here and say, can I put your logo on a can koozie? Like, I don't want to have to do that every time.
Well, I think you can legitimately work the rights to the materials or to the, I don't know what word I'm trying to use, to the koozies and the cushions and all that kind of stuff as part of the agreement for the lease to the Southwest Speedway. And when your lease runs up, your rights to do that material or those issues
Logo
would
isn't
cease.
what we're after, it's the name if
Yeah.
that's the case,
Yeah.
because that's the copyrighted piece
But
to
I
it is
think
the
he's
name.
just worried about if he's using it for something, we come back on some copyright infringement.
Oh.
Which, like Neil says, it would go with the lease. to
Yeah,
use
it would be
And you
put
can-
right in
you
there,
can-
that's an
You
easy
can make your
fix.
dollars
That
off
would
your
be
t-shirt.
Absolutely.
I mean, dollars
I mean,
off your
I can have that discussion with those guys, find out what the price tag would be, and I can come back to you next meeting with the information.
oh, I would say just get it done and then we'll get it from you at a later time.
Well, that makes it look underhanded.
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
I think it does.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we always talk about being transparent, and this is something that we'd be saying, well, go do it, and then we'll deal with you. No, we need to be upfront with these people.
Okay.
Otherwise, it makes, if they didn't want to deal with us, it makes Brad look like, a little underhanded and stuff. So as long as we're upfront with everything, I think that's just a better way to do it.
Okay. I will go to them and find out what that looks like and report back at the next meeting.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
And then do you have any other updates?
I didn't.
got-
We,
Gravel taken care of and
Al brought some gravel out. There's still some areas that need to be addressed within the fencing, just with the rain and runoff and whatnot. So whenever they got a couple free,
Brad, what our plan is right where you come in the gate where the old box used to be, we got a bunch of good recycled asphalt. We're gonna asphalt that whole work so if we can stop some of that washing coming off the hill. And we just haven't quite got there yet, but so.
yeah, and then just right behind the grandstands, it literally comes through and washes that out. Like
Well, we'll
every
we'll
single-
get with you when we're out there so we can take care of it.
Okay. Yeah, other than that, we talked about the fencing this morning. Sounds like the guy's supposed to be here in the next couple weeks to start fixing fencing and repairing and putting the new fencing up. So, yeah, I think we just went through our busiest July that we've ever had. So all of our numbers were pretty phenomenal for the year so far. So,
great job, man. Great job.
yeah.
You are doing a good job out there.
Yeah, Bernie's there almost every night, so. Thank you.
Thanks.
So on to 2023 preliminary budget.
Yep. So you all have a copy of the preliminary budget, which is on the backside of your colored budget detail that I've given you. The only thing that's gonna be a little bit different in here that I presented to the auditor and also to Commissioner Marsh was that we have, instead of what I have in here maybe for the motorsports park, there are some things that we have to deal with right now in regards to Right below the grandstands, there's a falling of some ground, and so I'm getting some quotes on either to put a wall up or some piers or something to fix that, because it is causing more and more issues as we go through this year and last year as well. It's just starting to fall, that ground is starting to fall, and we're gonna run into issues with our grandstands if we don't deal with it. And Brad had told me this morning that they were cutting tires because everything is leaning so far at this point. So they're trying to do minimal fixes right now so that we can continue the track, but, you know, those fixes need to be permanent, and so more than likely it'll be a wall, something that's poured, so I will adjust that before, probably not before Thursday's meeting, but some of those numbers will be adjusted before the public input, so that you have that. And then I'll update this and get you a new budget detail from here. So you can take a look at that whenever and just see what's on tap for county parks.
So all the improvements that Brad was mentioning in the last meeting, they're kind of in this budget as well for next year, or the majority of them, or ones that aren't going to get taken care of this year?
Yeah, just different ones that we were looking at. We were looking at adding additional cameras and things. There's some in here that are capital improvement plans, and I don't know if that one would fit under a capital improvement plan
I
or
gotcha.
not for them. But we were looking at trying to roof the area that they sit in, and we talked about that a little bit, that they're more of an evening show, and then just making sure that if we can't get the back-ordered grandstands that are the mobile grandstands, that we do something on the bike side, because they really just don't have anything right now for grandstands. So I'm trying to get an answer on that to find out. We still have those monies and they're there to put towards a grandstand. So there may be just a little difference if we need to put something in permanently for that side, because they need it. They're all day long.
Yeah.
When they do stuff, it's not
That'd be
just
covered-
for a couple
Would that
hours.
be covered also for the motocross area?
It should be. It just depends on costs. I know costs are outrageous right now, but we'll make sure if there's something that we can either add it later, but they really just right now need some seating, some safe seating, because right now what they have is pretty rickety, and there's not much of it, so.
So what's your, I'm just trying to get to a vision for that 80,000 on the capital improvements. Do you kind of have a wish list, want list, or?
Can you repeat that? Which one are you
So
looking
on,
at? Capital
about the
improvements?
seventh line down, you've got capital improvements for 80,000 in your proposed budget.
Oh, down here. That is the Rough Rider Commission's, what does she have? Oh, that's the total of everything in there. I was thinking that was Rough Rider Commission, but that's down in the fair events. That was the total estimated, and I highlighted that based on the changes that may possibly have to happen
Is it in
with
the
that.
other
It's in the
info-
justification, yep, yep. And so, you know, that's kind of where we were talking about, you know, doing some of the items in here, because I just don't know what that wall will cost. I can't even guess at what it will need and how deep those piers, if they need them, or if it has to be a wall to hold that dirt back, I'm not sure. Willie Wynn is supposed to take a peek at it, and then Tracy Tews with his crew at Grizzly. So we'll get some, at least hard numbers on what the cost will be, so that number could change there a little bit.
Jason, I think one of the big issues we have out there with that, there's some live springs underneath the existing bleachers and coming out of the bank, so I think we should take a look at maybe putting a drain tile of some sort to capture that, because I noticed it's coming out onto the track and making quite a mess, so I think when we dig that footing, we'll probably find the issue.
Could be.
Just to elaborate on that, we've literally spent more time fixing dirt in front of the grandstands than we do the rest of the facility. we waste more time and effort. I mean, there's a couple spots where the spring's actually on the actual track portion itself.
Yeah, didn't you put drain tile somewhere already?
Spot we
Did it
got
work?
taken care of.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it worked phenomenally.
So that's what you're talking about. I was talking about doing it again on a
That-
different spot.
Different spot.
Yeah, and I mean, there's probably 4 spots right now that we've actually dug out with the backhoe, filled back in, and then the dirt just gets wet and wet and wet, and then we try to drive the blade on it, and it'll sink 8-10 inches.
Oh,
So it's not enjoyable to try to fix that.
yeah.
So
When there's other things that you have
yeah,
to do.
there's
Yeah.
there's so much other
Right.
things that we could spend our time doing than fixing that stuff.
Right.
So we waste a lot of time, effort, and money trying to shear that up right before the race every week. I mean, we've literally rented a skid steer now for the whole summer so that we can actually physically get on top of that area
Yeah.
to flatten it back out. So, I mean, we waste a lot of time and effort.
So I guess you'll just be, do you put that under its own line item and have money set aside for that? Or is that just a new,
For the repair.
yeah,
piece
is
of
that
it?
a new,
Yeah,
new
I'll
build?
budget
Would that be
for
a
it.
new build or a repair?
Well, I don't know.
And
what
is there a
they would
difference
consider
between-
that. Yes, there is a difference
Okay.
between how it's budgeted and how they levy for it. So I'm not quite sure if that would be, my understanding is probably that it's a capital improvement because it is attached to the ground but I don't know that for sure. The auditor or you would have to, I know,
Okay.
to let me know, and we'll just move them around in line items if we need to, but originally it was a capital improvement to do some of the things we were looking at.
Yeah.
So that may just change a little bit, change the numbers around.
Okay.
Yep.
So is that, any more questions on your 2023 preliminary budget? Okay, we'll move on to the opportunity with Dickinson State University and the buildings.
Do you want to talk about that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, we should probably just give a brief overview.
Sure. Do you want to do it? Do you want me?
You can do it. You're great at it.
So yesterday, we met with Ty Orton with the DSU Foundation, and they had alerted us that they are looking at building an indoor arena for the Dickinson Rodeo team and their program there at DSU. And so we got a few of the park board members together and just talked with Ty about what our options are. He wasn't aware of some of the things we were doing, but he knew we were doing an indoor as well. And so looking at trying to combine forces and see what we can do there. The president of DSU was out of the country, so we couldn't really make a decision yesterday on how we could move forward and propose some of that. So we just had a lot of questions on what they were doing and what they wanted to accomplish. And of course, he had questions for us. And so we just talked about that, and we decided that we were going to just hold back for a couple weeks and see if those I guess meetings can happen and see if we can come to a conclusion where we can work together for one facility. Because our belief is if there's 2 facilities, one will fail. And the right place to probably have this, we believe, is the fairgrounds. And Ty agreed with that, that it probably would be the right place to have it due to the parking. And they have a big parking issue. And so there's some things that will come forward to this board and to the commission once we get forward with some sort of a decision on what we can do.
And the main reason why DSU decided to do this was because the governor said, hey, I'd like to help produce a building for the rodeo team, an indoor event center.
Yep. And they're talking $10 million.
And so they would give, the state
Yes.
would give them funding.
And then, they were looking at a $14 million facility. So they would have to raise the 4 million in order to do that. And if we combine forces with what we're wanting to do, it would be much better for the community and, less for Stark County to do.
And the state would
to
be
do it all.
funding a major portion of it.
Yes. Yep, at least half is what it looks like, and then we would fundraise for the rest of what we need.
So that's
great.
the overview.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So it was a very good meeting.
So this, any questions on that? Is that, I mean, we all kind of, that's an overview and what it is. We'll find out more by the next meeting
Yeah,
if they're,
and if we need to schedule a special meeting, we can do that too.
okay. And so the KO architect contract,
So that one, you have a copy of that. We talked a little bit about that yesterday of what we should do with it, because I was coming here to ask you guys to sign that. So the first thing that you have on there is the detail of the KO Architects costing at that $120,876. And I gave you a copy of the Crossroads Consulting agreement, and that agreement was to have, basically do the studies. So they were doing a market analysis, and they would do a financial analysis and an economic impact analysis. And it seemed to be the conclusion that we maybe don't need that we know what hotel availability is and some of those things. And so I just wanted you guys to have that in front of you to make that decision today on whether you want that or you don't want that. And then we talked about enlisting KO Architects to do the rest of these services, even without the Crossroads Consulting, without having that market study done. It puts Crossroads at this $58,576. And they would provide 3D images and some of the layouts and different things that we could do. You can see some of that on site there, with the concept plan development, preliminary plan, presentation to this board here. They would put together just a phasing of plan options on how we would like to move forward with it. We met with the architect on June 30th. A few of us had met with him and talked about what our options were in terms of phasing, funding. We would not have to come up with the full $18 million in 1 year, that there's some phasing that has to happen anyway. And so it would give us an opportunity to fundraise the way we need to fundraise, and take very little from Stark County as we can. And so they would give us the final plan and a concept of layouts. And you can see on the left-hand side, it gives you the proposed schedule. So between November and December is when we would get all this information, and then obviously the plans and specs and different things in February. So that's what it looks like right now. If we delay that a couple weeks to see what we can do with a joint powers agreement with DSU, that could just push it a month or so, I would guess. So,
So excuse me. So we have the concept plan for 13-1, the preliminary plan presentation for 4,800, final plan 9,700, 3D images for 9,700. What else is included in the 58?
it
that's
would,
the profit.
That's the profit?
The
No.
rest of it is profit.
I don't know. So I guess my question is, in the lower calculations where they talk about actual expenses, travel, lodging, meals, is that 9276 in the
Yes.
58,000? So we don't have anything over and above that.
correct.
Okay, and so just so we're all on the same page, so this would not then, if we were successful in trying to partner up with the university, these would be costs that would not be duplicated, and, I mean, this would be beneficial to the overall project, no duplication, we don't start from scratch if we do enter into that
Right.
arrangement.
That is correct. We may have to have a few costs if they want something changed and we agree. There may be some plan adjustments that we make, but nothing that's gonna start from ground one again.
Neil, can you just elaborate on that real quick? As far as that 58,000 is going to help them create the rest of this plan. They're not gonna have to do that 58,000 again if we say yes. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, and I think also that this is kind of a down payment on fundraising, right? I mean,
Yes.
you're not gonna go out and do fundraising by sitting down somebody on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and just start sketching things out. So it's gonna give some things, some concepts to assist that. And the point I wanted to make is I didn't want us going backwards, and then if we do enter into an agreement with the university, that we reinvent and respend the 58,000, so.
Right.
And you have this money available to you in the budget,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
So can we approve this based on finding that information out that DSU would joint venture, would say yes to this plan and move forward? Can we make a motion to approve this, sign this, based on that approval here within the next couple weeks?
Yes.
And then that way we have it
Yes.
ready to go?
Yep.
Is that,
Yep. And just so you know too, I know Amanda's not here today, but she has looked at all of their contracts and that sort of thing. She needs to do a more in-depth look at those, should we choose to sign these. So that would be also part of that motion, to delay at least until we have those talks with DSU. And then whether you want Crossroads Consulting, that piece of it done or not, that would also be part of the motion I would request.
what do you think?
I have no other questions. I would certainly, I'll move to approve the 58,000, I don't have the number written down.
58,576, and that removes Crossroads Consulting's piece.
Jason, could I have the floor for a second?
Yes, sir.
So when I looked through that and I saw what they were going to charge us for the marketing and market analysis, and I think those fees are excessive. I think they need to revisit that and give us more itemization of what they want to try to do. For example, the hotel availability is all available from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I don't like the marriage between the architectural firm and the marketing firm. It seems too inbred to me, or
First thought.
I'm not sure that this is the contract we want to sign. That's just what my thoughts were on it when I read through everything.
Okay,
I'll go back on mute here now, and you guys can maybe discuss it a little more.
well, from my understanding, we're cutting that part out of this contract. All of it.
If you choose, most of you that I've talked to, just individually talking about this, has said there's no need for it.
Randy, I think
we
that
know.
comes to 66,800. And we're cutting that completely out of it.
Oh, it's completely. I took it as. I mean, the way I read through that, it was all part of the same proposal.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
if it isn't,
We're going to
I
sign
stand-
it.
If it isn't, I stand corrected.
No, you were correct. But to my knowledge, everybody's in agreement that we're going to cut that part out of this contract and
Okay,
sign it based
okay.
on our marketing package that he's going to give us for a fundraiser type, right?
Well, yeah, the motion approves concept plan
Okay,
development.
fair enough. I'm on board with that. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, just to reiterate, the motion I just made funds concept plan development, preliminary plan presentation, the final plan and concept layouts and 3D images, plus potential travel and lodging expenses for staff.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. We'll probably take a roll call vote on this. Mr. Bernie?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Ms. Arthod?
Aye.
Or Commissioner Arthod? Is that how I'm supposed to?
It's fine.
Commissioner Dean?
Yes. And I'll vote aye.
Yeah, chair votes aye. Okay, I think that's all we have.
That's it.
I'd like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Good job.